Hey everybody, it's JANG here with an overview and demonstration of my small custom Lego train drawbridge system. Folks who follow me on Instagram have seen the slow development of this thing over the course of a number of weeks. Finally, it is in place and it is working. Trains can actually go over this and it will actually raise, and you don't have to touch it to make it raise. Well, you have to activate it, but it's actually motorized, so I'll show all that. But first of all, just take a look at the whole thing as it's viewed from around different sides. It's just a small little thing that I needed to put in place in order to get boats in and out, you know, in a imaginary sense, get boats in and out of this small little private harbor section, or a little marina section there. Needed to get something here that would actually retract and be able to fully support the weight of full-on trains going all the way around. Needed to raise the tracks up a little bit, so you can see I've got just a little bit of a rise. It's a rate of 1 plate per length of track, or 1 plate up, or 1/3 of a brick up for each 16 studs or 1 length of track that it moves horizontally. So it goes up over the water section, goes over the drawbridge, and then we've got this section here that's supposed to be just on land, and that's kind of blended in on the sides as well. And here's the access. I'm going to set up a little easement for minifigs to be able to come back here to access the little Overwatch tower section there, but this is supposed to be kind of a maintenance cellar area right there. Got just a little bit of a platform on top and kind of a little balcony off to the side, and there's the minifigure actually inside of there right now. Wanted to do something a little bit different for the roof, just to change things up a little bit, so I made the roof a little bit different from anything that I've done before. A little bit of studs on the side, just a little bit. I like how it turned out overall. I like how the little overhang works here on the side as well. Got just a little bit of texturing in with just different textures of bricks, and you can kind of see what it looks like from down at the lower at the water angle as well. And here's the final side with yet another little access panel there for minifigs to use. That's also right next to an access and beneath an access panel as well for huge figs like myself. This is powered by regular power functions, and you just remove this bit of the railing to get a little bit of clearance to let you see underneath there. And that's where you get to the battery box, just the AAA battery box. So you can turn that on, and then I can put this back in place, put the rail back, and this connects to a regular power function switch beneath there. So you turn that, and it's gonna turn on the motor and get this thing to start rising. Now it is quite very slow, and part of that is deliberate, part of it not so much. It's just the way that the rate of the gear reduction came out. It's got a worm drive in there. And I did take some footage of this thing running before I had it all completely closed up, so you could see what that looks like underneath. It's using an E motor just because I had one and I needed to use it, because the E motors really aren't very good. They're kind of weak. They do have pretty good speed, good rotation, you know, the higher RPMs, but overall their efficiency and power is very low. But I had one and I used it because I had it. So now I've got just better motors to use for other things, but it does the job. It just goes through just a little bit of gear reduction and then turns a large linear actuator. Now, linear actuator is actually just pushing the fulcrum point, the point where the whole bridge system rotates, forward and back. It's only pushing it basically through a track horizontally, and then I've got this system with lift arms, these Technic lift arms, that actually ride on top of a pair of tires. Just little wheels and tires that are able to freely spin, and the movement of the lift arms over the wheel kind of describes the path for the whole thing, or dictates the path that it has to take as it goes forward and up. I tried to figure out some linkage systems that would allow me to do that with just simple links, but with the very limited vertical space that I had here, it just wasn't going to work. I could have taken and open up a big hole in the table. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put holes in my table. I want to just keep everything on top. And so this just is kind of a brute force, inelegant solution, but it works. And it's all Lego, it's real stuff, and it does the job. It's able to open up a fair amount. I wish I could have gotten it to open up even farther than that, but this is just about the limit. I definitely did a lot of experimentation, but that's as far up as it'll go, at least for now. You know, I might work on it again at some point in the future, but it's plenty far up to allow any of my little boats to get in and out. You're just gonna have to, for some of the taller ones, need to stay over towards the right. But most importantly, it works. Let me go ahead and bring this back down. Again, it's going to be a slow process. I did have to modify the ends of the tracks, both at the drawbridge side and also on the landing side, in order to take out the interlocking bits of plastic, and also trimmed it down a little bit just so that it would land a little bit more smoothly. That's a requirement. There was no way with the room that I have without going to large motors and setting up some really sophisticated linkage systems to get that to work with unmodified track. But it's such a small modification, just taking off those little ears from the end and just trimming a little bit of material, that it really doesn't bother me. And you notice how the track is moved out, and that's just part of the process of going through the path that needed to be taken in order to get this thing to land in there nice and smoothly. And it's got some parts on the sides that help this to kind of go where it needs to go in the last critical little millimeters. It doesn't always land all the way flat. However, that is one thing that's unfortunate. I might need to add a little bit of weight. I tried using a full ballast piece towards the tip to get it to want to land down better. But at least you see down here it is locking in. It's now bringing itself back as it comes down. It's getting there. It's pulling it in, and it does make good electrical contact. And this is about that's the limit right there. Just stop it there. And you see how this end just didn't land all the way. The good thing is that it does get good electrical contact all the way around here, and I tried it both ways. You can just run a train right up to this, and just the slight little bit of initial touch, you don't even have to slow it down. Just a little bit of touch is going to push that back down in. Or if you bring a train around the other side, going the other direction, it'll work just the same. But these do lock in properly. So let's go ahead and see some trains going over this. So there you have it, Lego drawbridge, powered, works, very imperfect, very small, but I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it for now. And most importantly, it completes a major section of the city for now, or at least makes it passable so I can move on to other stuff. And I finally have train stuff going around my layout for the very first time. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I've got a lot more custom stuff to work on, so stay tuned. I'll be talking to you again very soon.